Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to the Conspiracy Castle. I'm your conspiracy asshole, Alex Stein, and today is a lovely day, guys. It is June 20th, 2020, year of our Lord, and it is Father's Day. So we got to give it big ups to all the papas, to the big papas, to Notorious B.I.G., the biggest papa of all, R.I.P. Biggie Smalls. And to the other dads, and even the moms, we're going to give you love too, because we know in this day and age of emotionalism, we can't leave out our moms, because, you know, we're deleting our history, we're deleting the past reality to a reality that's acceptable for all of us. We're, throwing our statues in the water, we're spray painting our history and throwing in the trash, burning the history books, so why not? Why not make Dad's Day Mom's Day too? You know, they're trying to genderize everybody anyway, so you know what? Today's just Parental Day. How about that? Parents' Day here at the Conspiracy Castle. But guys, let me stop my rant. We are so blessed to be here on this great Sunday because we are about to get a sermon from the one, the only, Bishop Larry Gaiters. We're about to go in on some Luciferians. Can I hear the Bishop? Bishop, how are you doing on this beautiful Sunday, my friend?
My friend, happy Father's Day to you and to your staff there in the city and state of Dallas, Texas. I'm doing great here on this Sunday afternoon, and we're just actually so excited to be back on the Conspiracy Castle. We had a powerful time last week, and now we're going to begin to unpack this teaching, which is actually blowing away the minds of people from all over the world, because I get, on the average, my staff gets between 80 to 120 invitations from me on the weekly basis that are emailed to me each and every Friday to be on some radio show or podcast all over the world. So we're going to be getting into volume 2 today of The Paradigm of Manipulation, the Paralysis of Emotion.
Well, we're very lucky to have you, Bishop. Bishop, let me tell you this. I just want to start off by saying we have so much to unwrap on this volume 2. Obviously, you know that. We talked about so much. But let's start off with, you might have said this, but I didn't know this. Did you realize Kobe had his career day of 81 points in his 666th career game? Did you know that, Bishop Larry Gaiters?
Yes, I knew that. I believe that was against the Toronto Raptors. Absolutely. And so nothing is by accident.
No way.
And did you also know, besides that, that when we talk about the location of the death of Kobe Bryant in Calabasas, that is the 33rd Congressional District in the state of California. So for your Masonic historians, there are 33 degrees within the global Masonic order. So nothing is by accident.
Yeah, just like LeBron James breaking his record in his hometown of Philadelphia. That's proof.
Yes.
Guys, none of this is an accident. And Bishop Larry Gaiters is gonna show you that. I'm just saying, it's the small things like that these evil people use to, it's like once again, I say there's signs and symbology to mock us so that they know that the script, this is a pre-written script, guys, and they are dictating what happens. So that's why they use this gematria. And Bishop, you start us off today. What is the pressing issue that the people need to know in this day and age of confusion? Please break us off this Sunday morning, my friend.
Okay, thank you so much, Brother Alex. You are a true man of God, true American. You're real, brother. And again, thank you so much for inviting me back to your powerful, powerful show, The Conspiracy Castle. All right, volume 2. Of the Paradigm of Manipulation, the Paralysis of Emotion. We talked about last week from Kobe Bryant, COVID-19, the global lockdown through the global Luciferian Baphomet order. We talked about little Tony Midget Fauci and the National Institutes of Health and Infectious Diseases out of Washington, D.C. Now we are in the midst of the greatest global house arrest in human history, where 3.6 billion other 7.6 billion people upon the face of the earth are on lockdown. Slowly, that is beginning to loosen up a little. Also, we talked about the 2018 N19 China-Vatican deal, where China has been given authority by the Vatican to not only choose bishops, but to ordain bishops. I'm confused. I'm not talking about the 1.4 billion indigenous Chinese people. okay, who are our brothers and sisters. I'm talking about that evil regime in Beijing. And we also talked about the George Floyd conspiracy. Okay, to me, that is a black CIA, black operation that we're going to reveal more today. There is a major holiday that happened, I believe, 2 days ago on the 19th of June of this year. And so in African American culture, we call it Juneteenth, okay? Capital Juneteenth. So Juneteenth, before we get into the paradigm of this manipulation and the paralysis of emotion. So then back on the 19th of June in 1865 in Galveston, Texas, there was a Union Army general by the name of General Gordon Granger, okay, who sent out what we call the number 3 proclamation. Now, at that time in 1865, the Emancipation Proclamation through President Abraham Lincoln was executed 2 years prior in 1863. And then 2 years later in 1865 through the ratification of the 13th Amendment, okay, which legally abolished slavery.
Unless you're a prisoner, Bishop, you can still be a slave according to the 13th Amendment.
According to the 13th, that's it, according to the 13th Amendment. And you notice the language of not just the Emancipation Proclamation in 1863 and the ratification of the 13th Amendment in 1865, but on the 19th of June in 1865 in Galveston, Texas, General Gordon Granger, who was a 33rd and 1/2 degree, Mason, his family were all Masons, a part of what they called the Odd Fellow Masonic Order. Now, the Odd Fellow or Fellows Masonic Order was birthed in England, okay, going back to the 1800s. That's another topic for another day. But the reason why I'm bringing up Juneteenth, okay, and this so-called Black holiday concerning the liberation of Black people, when you examine the language of what Gordon Granger had said on that day, the 19th of June in 1865, he says that all slaves are free. He didn't say that all Black men, women, and children and babies are free. He says every slave is free. Notice the language.
Yeah.
When we talk about the term Black Lives Matter, does the term matter mean significance, or does the term matter means it's a chemical property? Now, in the mind of the deep state, the term matter doesn't mean significance. The term matter, Brother Stein, means that Black folk in the mind, not of the right, but of the left, okay? These deep state, Baphomet, Luciferian devils on the left, George Soros, okay, Barack Hussein Obama, Bill Gates, and through the Bill and Melinda Robin Williams Gates Foundation, I'm sorry, another topic for another day, Warren Buffett, these people look at Black Americans as chattel, property, or matter.
Wow.
So you science students, when you look at the term matter, it doesn't mean significance. It means that person is nothing more than a piece of property, a chemical compound.
Wow.
That's why they call it Black Lives Matter. So then Gordon Granger, the general in the Union Army on the 19th of June in 1865, put out that proclamation that all remaining slaves, he didn't say African Americans or Black men and women or children. He said slaves would be forever freed from their slave masters. They won't be freed from the system.
Yeah.
Notice the language. But they would be freed from the legality of what we call systemic slavery. And that was in Galveston, Texas. So then, this is a warning to Black people. Don't get caught up in this Juneteenth African-American holiday.
Well, Bishop,
Gordon Granger was not only a 33rd and 1/2 degree Mason of the Odd Fellow Masonic Order out of England that goes back to the 17 and 1800s, but General Gordon Granger, according to the Oxford History of Civil War, Volume 5, Section 3, it says in Chapter 2 that Gordon Granger was a pedophilist. He loved children. Okay, this man was a general. Let me say this real quick. Okay. This man, Gordon Granger, who had given out that proclamation on the 19th of June in 1865, loved little girls and little boys. This is the man that black people look to as a sign of liberation, celebrating Juneteenth. Okay, go right ahead, Brother Alex.
Bishop Larry, this is powerful to what you're saying. People don't realize the Black Lives Matter movement has been hijacked by evil Jewish people, these rich Jewish people, because people don't realize Bishop Larry's talking about 1865, Juneteenth, the Emancipation Proclamation, but people don't realize in 1867 in Houston, Texas, the Republican Party was established by 120 black men and 20 white men. See, people don't think that because they switched it on you. They turned the Republican into the Democrat and Democrat into Republican, so you guys don't even know that the black people started the Republican Party. So this democratic movement was started by these, and Bishop will go into, by these evil Rothschilds, Luciferian, devil-worshipping people, and they tricked the black community into using this movement for these evil people's benefit. So you can please elaborate on that, Bishop. In 1867, the Republican Party was started by black men in Houston, Texas. If you don't know that, and you're a black man or woman listening to this, Google it, look it up, because your history is important. It should not be something that's deleted like the statues. It should not be thrown into a river. This is something you should know. But go ahead, Bishop.
That's right. When you look at the origins or the origination of what we call the historicity of the Republican Party, it was started and birthed through black men, 120 black men. And 95% of the population here, black Americans, they don't know that. So when did that begin to change? Okay, that began to change, as early as 1865, because the Ku Klux Klan, newsflash, was not created by white people.
No.
Oh, I got everyone's attention now. The KKK was not created by white people. Hollywood has been selling us this lemon, this lie for hundreds of years. The Ku Klux Klan in 1865 was created by a Rothschild agent, an attorney. His name is Judah Philip Benjamin, a Khazarian Jewish devil. Now, I'm not calling my Jewish brothers and sisters devil.
No, we love our Jewish brothers and sisters.
Okay? These are false Jews of the synagogue of Satan. Sinner means mind, Gog means consciousness. So Judah Philip Benjamin, who was...
Oh, we lost the bishop. No, Kat. No. Did we lose him for good? Is his connection bad? Oh, we're going to have to reconnect with the bishop. Oh, God, the Skype, guys. Bishop's dropping the good knowledge.
Yeah.
We're going to have to get him back.
Did you see my face back here?
No.
This whole time I was like...
He's dropping truth. Get him back on the air. Gosh, we got to talk about this. Guys, you don't realize, the thing is, Bishop Larry's going to get into how important it is that the whole entire Black Lives Matter movement was hijacked, and not just Black Lives Matter, but the entire feminist movement, the entire, the whole communist movement, guys, was created by evil Rockefeller Jews that wanted to ingrain us into a society where we can be taught how to accept the New World Order. That is their game plan. That is why they're using these people, this Black Lives Matter campaign, as a way to totally break up our country. I mean, it is so clear when we see these protests, guys, and there's guys like George Soros behind it, and it's all manipulated, and we know it's all bullcrap. You can see, if you have eyes to see like God gave you, you can see that this is a manufactured crisis. Just like the Corona crisis, just like Kobe Bryant dying, just like him having his biggest game on his 666th game. Stuff like that, guys, is not a coincidence. And that's what we're here to do, is we're here to expose those evil people. And that's why it's so important when we go to the Black history, and when you have a guy like Bishop Larry Gaiters, he gives you the straight dope, for lack of a better word. He's giving you the conspiracy chronique, the chronic. I'm talking about that heavy hitter, the one-hitter quitter type stuff. Kat, how are we with the guest? We can't email him back. Let's see.
No,
We're live. Let me see.
I'm wondering if his phone died or something.
His internet connection. 20 minutes into the interview. Let's see if I can get him back.
Dude, y'all were just starting to blow my mind. I can't wrap my mind around this.
Can you send him, re-email him an invitation?
Yeah, absolutely. But maybe you can explain to me while we're a little bit off. I get that the Rothschilds are, evil people, but what's the point in a secret agent setting up?
Oh, Kat, you have no idea.
Listen,
Kat,
honey,
I can't even talk to you about this. I got to speak to a guy that's educated.
I'm a noob.
I know, Kat, you're a noob, but we're way too deep. You don't realize everything that is going on in your life is manipulated by puppet masters.
I get that, but the KKK.
The KKK, because the reason why the KKK was started by these evil Rothschilds, Jewish men, it was because they didn't want the black community to have strong, small businesses. So they created the KKK to be able to go around and to be able to go torture these people, mental torture by using fear, by burning these crosses. So these people wouldn't go and create businesses. So they would be pigeonholed into a life of crime, literally, because they didn't give them any other option but to do the subversive stuff that they didn't want to do. That's what the reason the KKK was made. It was to totally destruct the black race, but not for the advancement of white people. This was done for much more evil purposes. This was done to shut down the entire society so that we are living under their rule. Because these puppet masters want full control. They don't want us to have any control whatsoever. And it's such a bummer that we lost Bishop Larry. Let me see if I can text him. We are going to... Oh, this is such a bummer. Nothing, no response?
No, not at all.
Wow, only 20 minutes with the bishop. What a bummer.
Hey, those 20 minutes were a blessing.
Yeah, but Kat, it's really frustrating because the audience and the fans have been waiting all week for this.
I get it. I totally get it.
He's not responding?
It's the government, dude. It's got to be.
It could be the government, but there's
trying to
nobody
silence
responding,
us.
Kat.
Not at all. I keep calling out. Maybe what we can do is you can give me his number.
Yeah. Well, we're not going to do that live on air.
Okay.
Well, I guess we're just going to, and you've messaged him back and nothing's.
Yeah.
Looks like his we don't have Zoom, do we?
No, I sure don't.
Oh, wow. What a bummer. Well, guys, we still got to finish the show. It's just, we're talking about the Luciferian nightmare, and it's really, I want to get into all the, all the manipulation towards our black people, but it's kind of hard without Bishop Larry on here to give the facts. It's such a bummer that this technical difficulty happened, but, in the future, we shouldn't have this issue. This is what happens when you go live. It's like Bill O'Reilly. F it! We'll go live! We'll go live. And we're going live, and it's rails off because, guys, here at the Conspiracy Castle, we're a new show, and our professionalism level is not at its highest peak, so you must give us a break. And when we have special guests like Bishop Larry, and then you get to hear him talk for 20 minutes, and then he gets kicked off the air, it's kind of a bummer. Nothing, no response whatsoever from Bishop Larry. Nothing. How many minutes is the show so far? What minute are we on? Bishop, we're back. Thank God. I was about to call it quits. I was so bummed out because we have so much to talk about, Bishop. Please, I'm so sorry for the it won't have this communication is probably our fault.
No, it's not it's the deep state.
For sure.
We're exposing something. Absolutely. So, and let me pick up where I left off, guys. So then, this June 10th holiday that Black America celebrates because it says that as slaves they were free. Notice, not as black men, women, and children, as slaves. So I teach people you have to examine words, okay? You're not actually free. You're free from a physical slave master, but you're not free from self-enslavement. So this is what we're talking about, the paradigm of manipulation in the paralysis of motion. So then, when we talk about, you made mention of Black Lives Matter. So Black Lives Matter is a terrorist organization, okay? So then Antifa, which came from the psyop of the Third Reich, through General Reinhard Gehlen, before and during the advent of World War II. And the flag or the insignia of Antifa was created by a Soviet politician during the Bolshevik Revolution in October 17, 1917. His name was Mikhailovich Molotov, from whence we get the Molotov cocktail. So the Molotov cocktail, which was created by Mikhailovich Molotov, a political protege of then Joseph Stalin, created the present day what we call Antifa insignia. Okay.
Wow.
Black Lives Matter is not of any significance in the mind of the deep state. It's called Black Lives Matter because the term matter means property. People says, I want reparations, Bishop, but the term reparations comes from the word to repair. Oh, so you are a black doctor, a lawyer, and an attorney, or a professor, but you want to be repaired? That is the psyop of what we call manipulation through the paralysis of emotion.
Bishop Larry, I got to give you, this is my idea. I think this would work because I tell you, I buy and sell a lot of inexpensive cars. So I have a lot of young African American customers, and lately I've seen that honestly, all my customers, they do feel some sort of enthusiasm with this movement. And what I want to say is, this is my radical idea. Why not, since the government doesn't have a ton of money, why not go in Nevada, someplace where the government has all this land, and we give every black man and woman an acre of land, and we let them create their own community with black cops, black banks, everything, and white people can go there, black people can go there. What would that idea sound crazy? Because the integration was done by fakes. It was all fake, created by Jews. So why wouldn't we start over? And I'm not talking about a civil rights area, but I'm talking about create a forest bias community. Would that work, or is that too radical, Bishop Larry?
Well, it's too radical because, number one, when you look at the history of urban cities like Detroit, in New York City, in Chicago, in Baltimore, and East Los Angeles, those geographical territories are nothing but rat holes because decade after decade after decade of black democratic left-wing communist leadership have destroyed these cities. So no, that would not work. And I'm going to say something that's going to make a lot of black people upset. I don't care. We are the only group of people on this planet who don't know who we are. We know what we are, but we don't know who we are. So a lot of them, they call themselves 50 cent, quarter, nickel, penny, iced tea, ice cube, ice tray, Tupac, 50 Pac. Why? Because they're slaves. So if you give them a state like Nevada or New Mexico, they will destroy it. I'm not talking about the masses of black people. Wow. I am talking about those who have an enslaved psychology. Now, as a side point here, and I'm glad that you brought that up. So then when we talk about Antifa, which comes from the German word Action, which means action, and the flag of Antifa was created by Mikhailovich Molotov, the father of the Molotov cocktail in 1917, who helped Lenin, Stalin, and Trotsky to overthrow the Tsar and his family, the Romanovs. So Antifa is the military arm of Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter is the propaganda arm of Antifa. So propaganda comes from two root interpretations. Prop, which means to elevate, and agenda means agenda. So when we say that Black Lives Matter is the agenda of Antifa, Antifa has propped up this terrorist organization, Black Lives Matter, in order to perpetuate a demonic agenda. This is the manipulation of what we call this psychological manipulation through the psyop of emotionalism. Again, I'm glad that you brought up that question. Now, why would also not all Black America, but a great percentage will tear up their own city? That's why corporate America won't invest in the Black community. Not because of every single African American, but because of those who don't know who they are. They will destroy it. Case in point, look at the word Negro. Well, that term Negro comes from the Greek word, multiple Greek words, necro, which means autopsy of flesh or having sex with a dead body. I kid you not. That's where the word in, the N word or Negro, is interpreted from its origin. I deal in origins, in roots. I'm a rootologist. The term Negro also means necromort, M-O-R-T. What does that mean, Brother Alex? Embalming fluid.
Yeah.
So the word Negro means also embalming fluid. There's another Greek word for Negro, necro, waste, which means bodily fluid or waste. This is the psyop of not every Black American, but most of Black Americans. They don't know who they are. Necromorphous. This is where we get the term rigor mortis. Death. The decomposition of the psychic of Black America is one of death. This is the reason why I thank God for President Trump, because he is helping to awaken the Black psychic out of Black America when it comes to the manipulation. Okay, and this, well, not just the paradigm of manipulation, but brother and sisters, the psyop of what we call emotionalism. You was getting ready to say something, brother.
Well, Bishop, I just want to say the origins of words. You're an originologist, I think is that what you said. But I just found this out. The term cracker for a white person is not because we're plain like a dry saltine cracker, guys. The reason the term cracker came out is from the slave master that would crack the whip on the black slaves. Can you elaborate on that? Because I just learned that and I didn't know.
When you look on the logo, on the insignia of the NYPD here in New York City, the New York Police Department, its logo has a man or a cracker with a whip. Why is the NYPD, why have they embraced that logo or insignia? If you look it up right now on Google Images, the logo of NYPD, it has that cracker, that slave master with the whip. Okay, there you go, on the right hand side. But you notice the eagle on top of the crest, that goes back to the Third Reich. Now, I thank God for, listen, I am pro-cop. Listen, 98.5% of cops in this country are beautiful women, are beautiful men and women. I don't have a problem. They are patriots. It's just the 1.5% who make it bad for the other 98.5%.
Well, real quick, Bishop, people don't realize, Bishop, real quick, if they defund the police, they don't realize it's going to get replaced with something way worse. That's how stupid we are. They think it's going to be just lollipops and candy canes, no law, do whatever you want. It's going to be much worse, robotic drones. The future is very bleak without a police force. Please go ahead.
And that comes from the psyop of manipulation through the paralysis of emotion. The deep state, going back to the 1930s, through Dr. Kurt Lewin, a Nazi clinical psychologist who came from Germany to California and was hired by Stanford University in 1930 to create the Parapsychology Research Institute. We brought him up on last week. Well, Dr. Kurt Lewin was one of the founding fathers of the Gestalt theory, capital G-E-S-A-L-T. What does Gestalt mean? It means mind manipulation. When we're talking about MK Ultra, and you talk about through the inception of LSD, well, what is the first letter of Lucifer? L. First letter of Satan? S. First letter of devil? D. There's your LSD. So these devils want to defund every police department in this nation.
Hey,
Why?
Bishop, I have to ask you. I have to ask you a question. What do you think about Yale University, Yale being one of the biggest slave masters? Should they cancel Yale, or does Yale get to keep their slave master as their logo?
Oh, see, they want it both ways. They want to defund every police department in this country, but at the same time, they want to keep radical racist holidays like Kwanzaa, okay? But the founder of Kwanzaa, okay, was a murderer and a rapist, okay? So when you look at the founder, the creator of, this is what I'm saying. This is the psyop of black people. That's why you can't give black people a state. Look at South Africa. Okay, you gave white South Africa over to the African National Congress. They have made it a rat hole. Why? They're killing off white people through white genocide. Listen.
They killed all the crops.
Yes. Yeah, and exactly. And so when we're talking about the paradigm of manipulation and the paralysis of emotion, allow me to break down that word Negro even at a further interpretation as a rootologist. Then you get that term necrophilia. But notice the last 6 letters, my brother, of necrophilia, capital Philia, which is the acronym for the city of Philadelphia, Kobe Bryant's hometown. Everything is a psyop, okay? So when we go to Negro, necrophilia, necros, which means casket. Cain in the Bible, his name within the Hasidic Hebrew language means blood, and Abel means crypt or coffin. Bloods in crypts. That's the psyop of the thinking of not all of Black America, but most of Black Americans. Brother, listen, I am a contract killer. I am an assassin. My job is to decapitate the government of Satan. I don't have a lot of friends. Listen, and I don't have time for a relationship with a woman because my assignment is to cut the devil's head off and to push these devils into hell as fast as I can. Go right ahead, brother.
Well,
He's getting ready to say something.
Bishop Larry, the thing is, this guy is a monster, a contract killer. This is your worst night, Satan. If you're a Luciferian and you got Bishop Larry Gaiters on your tail, good night, guys. Go get a pillow and go to sleep because it's nighttime. Because let me tell you something, this guy is no joke. So when we tell you about the origins of necrophilia, we're talking about Black Death, Philadelphia. These connections sound so weird. They sound so crazy. But when you put them together, they're like pieces to a puzzle, Bishop. And that's what I don't think they realize. They don't realize the whole Black community is in a psyop right now to hate Donald Trump. But before 2016, every single rapper from Nelly to 50 Cent, all they did was talk about rapping about Trump and about his gold and about how good he is. So, Bishop Larry, what I want to say is I think on the undereducated Black people, I think the psyop is not working and that they actually like Trump. What is your opinion on that? I'm not talking about the educated Blacks. The educated Blacks seem to be more that are in the Black Lives Matter and in the Antifa movement. But what do you think about, the more of the urban African American?
Blood's an excellent question, brother Alex. That's why you're a great host, my friend. As we're talking about the paradigm of manipulation and the paralysis of emotion, Bloods and Crips here in New York City that I've been talking to, these brothers and sisters, they are pro-Trump. They hate Obama.
Yeah.
They don't love Obama. They don't want crime in their neighborhoods. They don't want crack in their neighborhoods. It was the Democratic Party, okay, going back to the late 1970s, who opened the door for the infiltration of crack cocaine into Black America.
Well, Bishop, let me raise you one even worse. Yeah. Bishop, all my Black friends, ladies and men, none of them would have an abortion. All the Black community, to me, is the most anti-abortion community in the world. But if you turn on the media, they make it seem like Black people want to have abortions, which couldn't be farther from the truth in my experience.
Oh, because this goes back to 1939 during this manifesto called the Negro Project. Is that word Negro again? And as a side note for your student, when you take the word Negro and spell it backwards through inversion, this is how these Luciferian devils do. Take the word Negro and spell it from right to left. Then you get a Latin word origin, which means orgy. Now, back to your question. Oh, my God. So then, no, the 1939 Negro Project was a manifesto of the last rites of Black extermination, okay? It was the final solution of Black extermination through Plan Parenthood. Well, who signed off on that besides Margaret Sanger? The Black Boule Sicker Society. Dr. Henry McKee Minton, Dr. W.E.B. Du Bois, these House Negroes signed on, along with NAACP, Urban League, SNCC, the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. Okay, all of these black organizations, which were never created by black people, they were created with Khazarian money. They signed off on the extermination of their own people, including a woman by the name of Dorothy Taylor in 1939. Who is Dorothy Taylor, Brother Stein? The grandmother of Valerie Jarrett.
Oh my gosh! We know wow.
Valerie Jarrett signed off on the extermination of her own people. And Dorothy Taylor's husband, okay, Robert Rashawn Taylor, the grandfather of Valerie Jarrett, his name is attached to the biggest slave plantation ghetto that was ever built in American history, the Robert Taylor homes, going back to the mid-1960s, and the last building was torn down in the mid-2000s. That comes from the family of Valerie June Jarrett.
Well, that's not a coincidence that she was able to cancel Roseanne Barr. How was she so able to cancel Roseanne, Bishop Larry?
You see, because Roseanne Barr is a patriot. Roseanne Barr is a true American. Roseanne Barr is a true woman of God, is a true American like yourself, man of God. And Roseanne Barr had exposed Valerie June Jarrett, okay, who was never born in the United States. She was born in Iran. Shiraz, Iran. She is a Middle Eastern plant. Just like Barack Hussein, 60 other aliases Obama, as we're talking about the paradigm of manipulation. You got me started here today.
Well, Bishop Larry, what about Ilhan Omar? What about that devil worshiper Ilhan Omar marrying her brother? That's some fake. That's some sort of incestual deep state stuff. People don't realize that. What do you think about that? I'd love to hear your opinion on Ilhan Omar, fake marrying her brother.
And her little nappy-headed self should be in prison. So I can say nappy-headed because I'm black. Her little nappy-headed stuff should be in prison, okay? Can't speak proper English. And my thing, if you can't speak English, you cannot become an American citizen. No, if I own an apartment complex, I don't have to learn Spanish. You have to learn English, okay? Yes, I'm an American. Don't call me African.
God bless America.
The name of the continent was not Africa. And I know it seems like I'm going on the map, but I'm just flowing as the Holy Spirit gives me. And so I was on the Edge of Wonder broadcast some weeks ago, and it's been online that the original name of the continent was not called Africa. It was called Alkebulan, which means the Garden of Eden. Or who changed it from Alkebulan to Africanus or to Africa? The Africanus family, through a white Roman general, Scipio Africanus, who defeated Hannibal in 202 BC during the Second Punic War and changed the name of the continent, Brother Stein, from Alkebulan to Africanus, which is Africa today. Black people don't know that we are the only group of people who don't know who we are.
Go right ahead, well, Bishop Larry, see, this is another thing. The reason why the PSYOP is so strong on the black community is because really and truly, even though there are some black people that use drugs, alcohol and drugs don't have the same addictive characteristics to black people or to the black community that it does to the white community. Now, I'm not saying it's not more detrimental to them, but less African Americans are actually alcoholics by stats than white people. And so that's why I think the PSYOP is so strong, is because they're able to manipulate young white people with drugs and alcohol. And so drugs and alcohol don't work on black people as much, so they have to literally trick them. I'd like you to elaborate on that, Bishop Larry.
Absolutely. And this is what we call a U.S. Army psychological operations on the left. Now, when you look online, I'm in the midst of doing a powerful series on crowdsource the truth, entitled The Paradigm of Manipulation in the Paralysis of Emotion. And I've been showing these insignias, or these logos, of the U.S. Army 1st Battalion Psychological Operations. And as a side note, the U.S. Army alone has over 1,000 psychological operations, 1,000 points of light, Senior Bush, and the number 1,000 is a number in gematria, which means millennium. So that PSYOP of drugs and alcohol affecting certain ethnic groups, that's a black folk are a targeted demographic compared to white people. Let me give you an example. In Black America, 90% of death insurance, and it's not that there's no any advertisements as far as death insurance in white community, but you go into an African American community, three things are for certain: liquor stores, okay, fast food, okay, and this is where we get parasites in our brains called neural parasitology. Because of neural parasitology, when bad food is ingested, not just by black people, but any people, and then these bad foods, which have been planted in black communities, get for certain parasites, which affect the personality of the individual and their decision making. That's called neural parasitology. So you have liquor stores, bad food, and you have the advertisement of death insurance. Everything is death. That's a psyop in the black community. So as we're talking about this paradigm of manipulation, the paralysis of emotion. So look at the U.S. Army, first psychological operations. It has that Greek sign called psi, capital P-S-I. Well, that represents not just black psyop, but you have white psyop, and then you have gray psyop. Oh, so black psyop, you don't attack the black community as you would a white community. So the Luciferian deep state, they have studied the psychology of black America and the psychology of non-black America for centuries. So they target our lack of self-worth and this is demonic.
Bishop Larry, there's a whole culture of death in the black community. People don't realize the black funeral home is considered one of the is almost like a social gathering to go to these funerals. These people look at them like positive things. It's not almost not a sad thing, because what they've done is they've socially engineered the black man to realize that he's going to die at a young age. That's why you hear in the raps, man, I'll be lucky to get it to 25. I'll be lucky to make it to 18. What that mindset is, that's the social engineering, and that's from birth, because all these children are going to aunts and uncles' funerals. They're seeing people dress their best at these funerals. So to them, these funerals are almost a positive, fun party when they're totally the worst thing in the world. Elaborate on the black funeral and the psyop behind that, Bishop Larry.
When you look again at the term that black people, not all black people, but a great percentage, they deem themselves as the word Negro, which also means a property. This is where we get the term matter, a property. Black lives, that is a property. So the psyop of the black funeral home, the psyop of the black church, then you have the psyop of liquor stores and bad, poisonous fast foods. So slavery, though it was legally abolished, Brother Stein, through the Emancipation Proclamation of 1863 and the ratification of the 13th Amendment 2 years later in 1865, through this June 10th crap in June, the 19th of June, 1865. But see, slavery has only been redesigned.
Yeah, well, the 13th Amendment says you can still enslave somebody for punishment of a crime.
For punishment of the crime. And it's still in the Constitution that black men and women are still considered a 3/5 of a human being. 3/5. You're a chattel. You are a piece of matter. So when they say Black Lives Matter, the term matter also means a decomposition. What is decomposition? Rigor mortis. What is rigor mortis? Negro. So this psyop of self-hate, check this out. Not just liquor stores and the black funeral home, okay? And fast foods are the mainstays of black America. Not all, but a certain percentage. Also, black America, half of the gross domestic product of sales to the Nike Corporation come from Black America. 50% of the sales come from a people who don't love who they are, Brother Alex.
Well, they're only 13% of the population, and they're half of the sales, guys. So people think the black community is larger than it is. Guys, in a community of 350 million people, and the black community is only 13%, you can do the math. That's less than 40. That's about 50 million black people, and they're spending half of the revenue of Nike, guys. It's stuff like that. You need to pay attention to these numbers. We're not using these fake Bill Gates numbers to make you go and hide in your house. We're using real numbers to try to show you that the social engineering is an attack on the black community. And this Black Lives, I keep saying blue, but these Black Lives Matter movement is a hijacked movement, and they are creating a modern day slave to fight their war for these evil people.
And again, you're hitting this right on the button as we're talking about the paradigm of this manipulation and the paralysis of this emotion. When you look at the structure of a slave ship, anyone you're listening to, you can just go on Google.com/images or Google Images and type in the structure of a slave ship. The structure of the average slave ship going back to the 1400s represents the structure of a athletic basketball tennis shoe. Oh my God! And
what a coincidence! It looks like a boat.
This is powerful. This is the only God can show you and I this. So the structure of a athletic tennis shoe is shaped like the structure of the origin of a slave ship, or the schematical structure of a slave ship. Go right ahead, Brother Alex.
Well, Bishop, it's just there's so much to talk with you about, and I see the manipulation that's going on. But like what I see in the news, I would really like to get your opinion. What did you think last night of that Trump rally and the psyop that supposedly a bunch of K-pop fans, I don't know if you've heard this, bought fake tickets, and they said that they tried to do that to try to embarrass Trump. I'd like to get your opinion on what those K-pop fans. I know this is just a little segue, but we're going to go back into the paradigm manipulation. But I love getting your view on current events, Bishop Larry.
Absolutely. Excellent. Because this is a psyop. Now, it came out in the U.S. news this morning that the turnout was so low during the Trump rally. That's a lie. That's a lie. When Trump got inaugurated, they tried to Photoshop the aerial view, of the inauguration. Trump didn't have the numbers that Obama had. Again, they're trying to marginalize, including this K-pop mess, trying to marginalize President Donald J. Trump.
Oh, Bishop, no, I got to cut you off. I'm so excited to ask you this. Oh, man, I watched an hour last night. Henry Lennox, who's the black actor, said he was, saw this, was best friends. Guys, look up this actor. Is it Harry Lennox or Henry Lennox? I forget which one. It's Harry Lennox. Says this actor is an actor that was hired by the deep state, and he admitted this before Barack Obama was elected president. This is when Barack Obama was just a senator, that he actually trained Barack Obama, Barry Soetoro, to have the mannerisms of a black guy from the south side of Chicago. I just found that out, Bishop Larry. People don't realize, guys, Barack Obama is a gay Muslim that worships Satan, and Michelle Obama has a wiener, and Barack Obama likes to smoke crack and give him BJs. They don't even know that, Bishop Larry. Why don't they know the truth?
Because Black America, they were sold a lemon. Going back to 2008. Barack Obama came out of nowhere. He is not an American citizen. He doesn't love America. He's married to Michael LaVon Robinson. And so Barack and Michael Obama, they are the worst. They are the greatest, as the great Clint Eastwood said. Barack Obama and the Obamas are the greatest fraud ever perpetrated upon the American public. And you know why we're going through this, Brother Stein? Because this is the last vestige of the deep state. They're dying off. And we are part of this revolution through Q. We are exposing these devils. Now, as a quick side note, remember when we talked about Antifa, there being the military arm of Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter being the propaganda arm. And this is also, you can examine the tattoo on the chest of George Floyd. Now, he's 6'6.5", but the coffin that he's supposed to be buried in is 6'1". How does a man shrink at death? I never heard. I'm not a doctor or a physician. How does an anatomy of a dead body shrink like that? Brother Alex. So go right ahead.
Well, we know that he's not in that casket, obviously. I mean, guys, the people don't realize this George Floyd was some sort of snuff film and it was a created event in order to start these set of events that are currently going on. I'd love for you to elaborate on George Floyd in your opinion.
Excellent question. And see, that's why you and I flow so well when we're talking about the paradigm of manipulation in the paralysis of emotion. So when we look at George Floyd, his mother's name was Judy Jackson. The mother of his best friend, Stephen Jackson, is supposed to be his twin brother. I don't know if that's true. The mother of Stephen Jackson is Juliet Jackson. Wait a minute, I'm confused now. So the mother of George Floyd, who supposedly died 2 years ago, his mother, God rest her soul, her name was Judy Jackson. But the mother of Stephen Jackson is Juliet Jackson. So when you look on the chest of George Floyd, it shows a double-pronged head of an eagle. So now keep your mind right there. Keep a mental paper clip there concerning the terms deep state. So the Persian interpretation for the word deep is that Persian term Siam, capital S-I-A-M, okay? And the Persian, including Taiwanese interpretation of the word state, is twins. So when we say deep state, we're seeing what we're actually teaching your people is Siam or Siamese twins. That's the double-headed eagle, okay?
Wow.
One eagle represents Antifa. The second one represents Black Lives Matter.
Well, Bishop, talk about how all this came out of Operation Paperclip in the Third Reich. If you guys don't know, Operation Paperclip was something a secret mission that the American government did in order to bring the top Nazi scientists over to the United States under the guise that they were going to help us with our space program. But really what they did is they created the CIA through the OSS system. So I'd love for you to elaborate on Operation Paperclip and how that's actually changed the whole landscape of our country from that day forward.
Operation Paperclip, after the advent of World War II, where the Western powers, right, through Great Britain and the United States and Canada, were battling for world supremacy, this was the birth of the Cold War. The Cold War began after the advent of World War II. So Operation Paperclip was a psychological operation through the Central Intelligence Agency, which they absorbed the OSS, the Office of Strategic Services, to begin a global recruitment of Nazi spies and scientists. One of those spies was General Reinhard Gehlen. Reinhard Gehlen created the original Antifa.
Wow.
Now, why was the Germans anti-fascist? Because their enemy was the Soviet Union. So the flag of Antifa represents Soviet fascism, okay, which represents two sickles like arm and hammer. That's on the flag of Antifa. So Operation Paperclip, the Central Intelligence Agency, was built by the Third Reich. The National Security Agency, the FBI, the Pentagon, okay, including DARPA, and including the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, DARPA, or the Intelligence Research Projects Activity Agency, the entire apparatus of the superpower of the United States of America was Nazi created, wow, including the United Nations, including NATO, including the European Union, including the European Common Market, all after the psyop of the Nazi regime, well, they called the Third Reich.
The EU just came out in defense of Antifa not being a terrorist organization. I don't know if you saw that, but also, Bishop, I really want to get your opinion because we're talking about Operation Paperclip and we're talking about the origins of all these evil organizations here in America. What is your opinion on the moon landing? I know for a fact we don't have the technology to go today, so I definitely know that we didn't go in 1969. But I'd love to get your opinion as a patriot.
Well, before I touch on that, let me touch on George Floyd real quick, okay? And that tattoo, Order Ab Chio, which means order out of chaos. I'll get to the moon landing in the next 5 to 6 minutes.
No problem.
But on that, to understand the psyop of Minneapolis, 80% of the buildings that were destroyed by the rioters, okay, 80% of those buildings are insured and underwritten by Warren Buffett. 80% of the buildings that were destroyed are owned by Berkshire Hathaway. And I know a lot of your listeners, they love Warren Buffett. He's got this Sunnybrook Farm persona, but he's a devil. Mm-hmm. So 80% of the buildings that were destroyed are owned by Warren Buffett. Okay, we don't need earth moving equipment. We got the rioters because they're going to react, okay, through what we call neuroplasticity, that the human brain grows into the shape of what the individual is thinking at that moment. And then we, as Black Americans specifically, we have never dealt with our historical pain and our historical trauma. Yeah, you can give us a state like Nevada and New Mexico, but we will destroy it because we don't know who we are. Now, let's stick with George Floyd here. Now, on his chest, order ad chio, which is a Latin term meaning order out of chaos, okay? Now, there is a project in Minneapolis called the Minneapolis 2040 Project, okay? So the Minneapolis 2040 Project is a project of what we call gentrification, where the powers that be in the Minneapolis city government want to destroy the geographical communities of Black and Latino areas. Why? Because they want to drive out those families, tear down their homes in order to build high-rise, expensive apartments. That happened in 1992 because of the LA riots. Had nothing to do with Rodney King and those 4 cops. Those men were chess pieces. Now, before you say something, what I'm about to say here is going to blow your mind here.
Let's go.
Not just Antifa comes from Nazi intelligence. Notice the double bolded bar for the SS that's on the forehead of Harry Potter. That's also the insignia of the U.S. Army Psychological Operations, the double bolt, which means SS. Everything has a psyop. Now, quickly here, when you look at Black Lives Matter, these Black Lives Matter were created by 3 Black witches. I can say that because I'm Black. So these Black Lives Matter were created by 3 Black witches who are also a part of the Boule Secret Society. Alicia Garza, she's a member of Omega Phi Beta. Patrice Cullors, she's a member of Omega Phi Beta. And Oppo Temeti of Nigerian descent, she is a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha. These 3 Jezebels and 3 witches, they are the foundation of Black Lives Matter, not because they matter of any significance in the mindset of the deep state, but they are a matter or a composition of a property. Now, remember, for your students here, this is going to blow your minds. But so just keep your pants on. This is going to blow your minds here as we're talking about Black Lives Matter. When you study the spiritual psyop of Black Lives Matter, it was created by George Soros. So George Soros is the slave master of not just these 3 women, but the entire structure of Black Lives Matter, which is nothing more than a shell company. Now, when you go back in Indian history, there was a group of men called the Thuggee Secret Society, capital THUGGEE. So this is where we get the term thug.
Wow.
Okay. Young Black. So it goes back to the year in the decades of the 1700s. In that protracted period of time from the 1700s to the early part of the 1900s when the British government destroyed them. So the Thuggee Secret Society, their god/goddess was a woman by the name of Kali, Kali. Her name means life, but it also means diva. So you women calling yourselves diva. Diva is the first 4 letters of the term divination or witchcraft. So Thuggy, the Thuggy Secret Society, their goddess was Kaylee. Not only means diva, but her name means life. Oh, this is where you get the term thug life.
Wow, Tupac had it tatted on his chest.
Oh my God. So then thug life, okay, Tupac, Tim, this is where the psyop of that comes from,
Wow.
going back 200 to 300 years. And that picture, if your staff right now can just type in on Google Images and just type in Kaylee, capital Kali, you will see her right foot on the neck of a man, George Floyd.
Wow. Let's see if we can pull up Kaylee.
There you go. The George Floyd. Everything is a psyop. Go right ahead.
Well, what about, and people don't realize, I'd like you to talk about hip hop, guys, came from Africa.
Oh my God.
Yeah, please elaborate where hip hop, it is from dancing from the hip. You can tell them where hip hop came from.
And so hip hop, it goes back at least 3,000 years.
Wow.
We're
looking at the logo. We're looking at her standing on the neck right now. Kaylee standing on it.
You go right there. Oh my God, look at Kaylee right there. So then, and you notice in many of these pictures of this goddess Kaylee, which also means divination, diva, the goddess of seduction, around her body is the skulls of the men she conquered. So when you look at Christine Blasey for Kamala Harris got where she's at because Kamala Harris laid on her back. That's where she got. Listen, this is nothing against women.
We didn't lose him, did we?
Try to kill it. Okay. My job is to expose these doubles.
Well, no, you're crushing.
Yeah. So then, thug life. Yeah. So
Bishop,
thug life. So Kaylee, her right foot on. So that was the psyop of Derek Chauvin. He had no idea what he was doing. Now I've been getting some videos, brothers and sisters, of a fake body of George Floyd from the waist up, and then a second gurney shows these fake legs. This is a psyop. This is a orchestrated, manufactured crisis to destroy both Trump in the Constitution. Go right ahead, Brother Alex.
Well, people just don't realize we're not only in a war for our minds, we're in a war for our souls. So when they do these fake psyops like George Floyd, who they killed in Minneapolis, the Twin Cities, guys, that's connected to 9/11, how they killed the Twin Towers. So please talk about how it happens to be the Twin Cities where this happened, and how guys, if you don't realize, the knocking down of 9/11 was an occultic ritual to knock 2 towers into one. It was a insurance scam by these Ashkenazi Jews like Larry Silverstein and Benjamin Netanyahu. But please talk about the symbolism of the Twin Cities in Minneapolis.
The Twin Cities in Minneapolis, when you talk about even the term Minneapolis, it comes from 2 Latin interpretations. Many, okay? Capital M-I-N-N-E. Okay, Mini is a god in Persian mythology, which means twin. In the last of those letters of the term Minneapolis is the term Apolis or Opolis, which means optic eye, or thereby we get the term cyclopedia. Cyclop, one eye.
Illuminati.
One eye has twin. So Minneapolis, the Twin City. Now, as a side note, one of the philanthropies that is supporting Black Lives Matter is a philanthropy called the Burleus Philanthropy Group. Well, the term Burleus in Greek mythology was the god of Twin Cities, Minneapolis. So everything is by design. And you hit another nerve with me just now. I got to say this.
Please.
The owner of the nightclub, the former owner, this Latino, and this is nothing against Latino people, okay? But my job, my assignment is to expose this paradigm of manipulation and the paralysis of emotion. So this Dominican woman by the name of Maya Santamaria, she was the former owner of the El Nove Rodeo nightclub, where Derek Chauvin and George Floyd worked. George Floyd was a bouncer. Derek Chauvin was a security guard for 17 years. George Floyd and Derek Chauvin were caught up in 5 raids, 3 of them by the FBI, during 2018 to 2019. That club was raided 5 times, twice by the police department of Minneapolis and 3 times by the FBI division in Minneapolis. Why? For drug trafficking.
They were selling dope.
Distribution. So this death had nothing to do with racism. Okay, this death was because of 2 entities. One, Derek Chauvin was trafficking drugs at the behest of the Minneapolis Police Department. Not every cop was under the take, but 65 and 70% of the cops, according to a source I have, a pastor friend of mine, he's Nigerian, he's a cop in Minneapolis, and I've been receiving information for the past 2 weeks as to what happened. So this has nothing to do with racism. George Floyd was owed drug money by Derek Chauvin, and Derek Chauvin did not want to pay. So George Floyd was going to expose Chauvin, those 3 cops, including the entire apparatus of the Minneapolis Police Department, who are complicit in the death of George Floyd. And the second reason why that George Floyd was taken out, if that was George Floyd, because the entire apparatus of the Minneapolis Police Department were also traffickers of counterfeit money. Now, back in December 2019, the Port Authority, through Department of Homeland Security in Minneapolis, confiscated almost $1 million worth of counterfeit money. So Derek Chauvin and the entire police force are involved, not just drug trafficking, Brother Alex, but counterfeit money. And according to my source, that the $20 bill that George Floyd had on his person, that counterfeit $20 bill, its serial numbers matches the serial numbers of the $1 million of counterfeit money that was confiscated. This is deep.
Wow.
This has nothing to do with racism.
No, Bishop,
okay?
people don't realize.
And can I say this, Brother Allen? Let me
Go
say
ahead.
this
Sorry.
too. Oh, man, you got me so excited. Okay. So the city of Minneapolis had covered this up from December to January 27th. Went through an op-ed, okay, in the Minneapolis Times newspapers and through, in every newspaper in the state of Minnesota. That came out on the 27th of January, the day following the death of Kobe Bryant.
Wow.
So Kobe Bryant knew the owner of the club, including Vanessa Bryant, and someone said, wait a minute, how does Kobe Bryant and Vanessa know Maya Santa Maria, the former owner of the nightclub? Because Kobe Bryant and the Los Angeles Lakers used to travel to Minneapolis when Kobe was alive once a year to play against the Minnesota Timberwolves.
And Kobe's wife is into Santa Maria. Go talk about Kobe's wife.
So then the term Santa Maria comes from the root term Santeria, which means both Caribbean and Latino witchcraft. This has nothing to do with my Latino brothers and sisters. Now, the wife of Kobe Bryant, Vanessa Bryant, and her entire family worship the religion of Santeria. It's all witchcraft, Caribbean and Latino witchcraft. What did Kobe know, and why did he end up marrying this woman who gave these fake tears at the memorial back in February? Okay, this is the paradigm of manipulation and the paralysis of emotion. Oh my God. So, and I'll say this here and give the floor back over to you. Then again, this is mind blowing. 3 thuggy secret society men going back, my brother, in the 1700s, 3 Indian assassins who created the thuggy secret society in India. Their names were Behram, capital Behram, and the second man was called Lavith, capital Lavith. The third man was called Morty, capital Mrorti. So Behram, Lavith, Morty. So Behram in Hindu means that which is black. Levith means that which is life. And Morty means that which is composition or matter.
Wow.
So Baram and Morty, the three founders of the not just of the PSYOP of the Boule Secret Society, but the PSYOP of the Thuggee Secret Society, represents Black Lives Matter. Well, what is the first letter of Baram? B, Lavith L, Morty M. Black Lives Matter.
Wow.
George Soros is a lover of Hindu mythology and Hindu history. George Soros is the slave master and the creator of Black Lives Matter. Oh, this is mind blowing.
Bishop, this is what we got it next week. If you're available, I want to interview again. But this is what I want to talk about real quick. The guys, y'all don't realize this Black Lives Matter movement has been planned and been put in place a long time ago. But Bishop, this is what I want to talk about. You taught me Lucifer backwards is recycle, which is the recycling of your waste. Like, you know, and Aleister Crowley, who did sex magic, he would literally write poems about pooping on each other. They would use their feces and stuff. But this is my point, Bishop Larry. I believe these masks are an occultic ritual. Like when you see Eyes Wide Shut, when they have these rituals, they make you put on a mask. And part of the ritual is the humiliation. They want to humiliate us. They want to see who's playing along with it. But in my mind, when I think about the mask and you teach me about Lucifer and recycle, they like that we have to wear a mask all day and we get our stanky breath all on it and we get it nasty and then we take it off and we got to put it back on because we're recycling our waste. So in a way, connect to the mask now, the PSYOP of the mask and the PSYOP of Lucifer and recycle.
Oh my God. And again, I'm so happy that you brought these terms up. Look at the term Lucifer in Isaiah chapter 14, verse 12. Through inversion. In order for us to defeat the deep state, we have to know how they are thinking. They think through inversion. They spell words backwards and invert. So the term Lucifer or Lucifer, this is where we get the terminology to disciple, spelled backwards through inversion, reveals the Latin word recycle, which means the recycling of fecal matter. That's the very PSYOP of Lucifer. Now, in Ezekiel, in the book of the prophet Ezekiel, chapter 28, verse 13, concerning the king of Tyrus. Well, Tyrus, according to Persian mythology, means tied or attached to Lenol. Lenol, capital Lenol, was one of the gods within Persian mythology, the god that controls. That's where we get the pharmaceutical term Tylenol. Now, the PSYOP, or the alter ego of Tyrus or Tylenol, was Lucifer or recycle. Now, in Ezekiel 28:13, out of the 9 stones that was upon the breastplate of Tyrus or Tylenol or Lucifer, the first 3 stones revealed the character and the nature of this paradigm of manipulation and the paralysis of emotion. Well, the first 3 stones upon the breastplate of Lucifer is sardis, topaz, and diamond. Well, what is the first letter of sardis? S. What is the first letter of topaz? T. What is the first letter of diamond? D. STD. So when I say STD, it comes sexually transmitted diseases. It's a code. This is the character and the nature of the deep state. Okay, because they want Tommy to become Tammy and Tammy to become Tommy. Go right ahead, brother Alex.
Well, I'm just saying we only have about 5 minutes left of the show today because I know you have other interviews, but I definitely have. What I want to do is, with this last 5 minutes, is Bishop, I just kind of want you to elaborate on the current state of events in the paradigm of manipulation and give us kind of a preview of what we'll talk about next week. And I know we've been all over the place, but Bishop Larry, it's just such an honor to have you here. And basically, what I want you to answer is, what does the society need to know about what's currently going on, and what's something that'll give them hope so that these social engineers so that we're not a victim of the social engineers? How can you help us take away our victimhood a little bit, Bishop Larry?
That's an excellent question in the last 5 minutes of today's broadcast. My counsel and my wisdom to America would be, in order for us to be liberated from this matrix system, Okay. We have to reveal the very construct or the algorithm of its thinking. So, in order for America to destroy this Khazarian demonic system, we have to stop feeding it with fear. That's where we get the term contagion. So these masks represent the impending psyop of what Albert Pike said, that a World War III catastrophe between the West and Islam. So these devils, like little Tony Midget Fauci, Dr. Deborah 3000 Scarfs Burks, okay, all of these, Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, okay, including Governor Jay Pritzker of Illinois. And do you know, quickly before we sign off today, Jay Pritzker owns the Mormon Group, including the Pritzker family that owns the Mormon Group. The Mormon Group owns 20% of the Acme Brick Company, with all those thousands of bricks, pallets of bricks all over the country. That comes from the Mormon Group, and it comes from Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett owns 80% of that company, of the Acme Brick Company. And he swears up and down that he knows nothing about the Acme Brick Company. Stop. According to the SEC records, the Security and Exchange Commission, the Berkshire Hathaway Group, they own 80% of the Acme Brick Company. The other 20% is from Governor Jay Pritzker. Governor Jay Pritzker's family, and I'm done, used to own, were previous owners of the Sikorsky 76B helicopter that Kobe Bryant died on. Because in January of 2007, oh, it's mind-blowing, January 2017, the Island Holdings Group, okay, in Van Nuys, California, traveled to Chicago in January 2017, 3 years before the assassination of Kobe Bryant, and bought the Sikorsky 76B helicopter from Governor Jay Pritzker 3 years before the assassination. So in my conclusion, we have to take up, if we got to take our arms to protect our families, we have to get together, white, black, white, red, brown, because they want you and I, Brother Stein, they want you and I to be destroyed. They want you and I to be divided. And in my conclusion here, thank you so much for inviting me back to your powerful show. And and my homework assignment to your listeners would be, do some research concerning the 1912 book entitled A Racial Program for the 20th Century. A Racial Program for the 20th Century. It was by a Khazarian devil, a member of the Fabian Secret Society in London, England, Israel Cohen, when he said that our people, the Khazarian global mafia, our job is to divide black versus white, white versus black, through the psyop of fear and racism. So once we fulfill that commission, we can control them through Hollywood. Okay? That is my conclusion of the paradigm of manipulation and the paralysis of emotion. Mind-blowing information today.
Well, Bishop, guys, you just got a contract killer to freaking murder the truth, or murder the lies. This guy is a lie murderer. If you're gonna put up some bullcrap against Bishop Larry Gaiters, this guy is going to annihilate it with no problem. And Bishop, I definitely want to talk to you about a Volume 3. Guys, the main thing you have to take away from this is an orchestrated event to divide us by colors, to divide us by state lines, to divide us by parties. But if you really take a picture and you step back and you look at the picture and you look at all the division, you realize, guys, the left wing and the right wing are on the same bird. The Republicans and the Democrats were on the same boat. And guys, I'm trying to make this a cruise ship, not a slave ship. That's what Bishop Larry and I are trying to do. We're trying to create a world where we're on a cruise ship having fun, not a slave ship going to a future that is very, very bleak. And Bishop Larry, please, any last words you have to say, Bishop Larry, before we go?
Thank you so much, Brother Alex, and to your staff. And we do apologize for any technical difficulties. This is what happens when there's a contract killer on your show. The deep state, they don't want this. So to all of your listeners, please definitely go to liferadionj.com, liferadionj.com /Gaiters. That's Gaiters. And we are nationally syndicated through the Life Radio Network every Tuesday and Thursday night, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. through the Life Radio Network, 92.9 FM, 1460 AM. We are also internationally syndicated through the iHeart Radio Network in the iHeart Media Group here in New York City, New York. We average between 20 to 25 million listeners worldwide each and every week. We thank God for that. Also, you can follow me on social media. Go to facebook.com/Bishop L. Gaiters. That's Bishop L. Gaiters, Gaiters. And on Facebook, you can type in Global Spiritual Revolution Radio and join this Global Spiritual Revolution family. Last but never least, go to Twitter. My Twitter handle is @Bishop L. Gaiters. That's Gaiters. @Bishop L. Gaiters. And please financially support the international movement of Global Spiritual Revolution Radio, because that's what we are. We are a movement. My job is to stretch the minds of the world. So when I let go of their minds will never return back to its original form or shape. PayPal.me/GSRR Media Group. PayPal.me/GSRR Media Group. Whether it's $50, $100, $500, whatever you can afford.
$5 million. Whatever you guys got to help Bishop Larry.
Oh. What was that, brother?
I was just saying, guys, anything y'all can do to support or help Bishop Larry. This guy is a monster, a contract killer, and this is an expensive lifestyle because, guys, trust me, society's not helping Bishop Larry. Nobody's giving him a hand up. Everything he's doing is bootstrapped, and he's doing this against a lot of evil people. So any help that you can show Bishop Larry, you can show myself, is so, so very appreciated. And I know that Bishop appreciated it more because, guys, he is in a fight against a lot of Luciferian devils. And I know it sounds hokey and it sounds corny, but the only way you can support is with your support, and your financial support will help as well. But guys, we're going to have a volume 3. We're going to talk to Bishop Larry again. And I just can't tell y'all how important it is to listen to what we're saying, because guys, everything is hidden right in front of you, just like government. What does that mean? That means to control, govern, meant the mind. So when you hear us talk about the origins of these words and how they're used to trick you, you have to follow. You have to listen to this multiple times, because we're giving you some straight truth, crack rock, guys, and you have to have a high tolerance to be able to handle this stuff. So once again, Bishop Larry, thank you so much. And guys, it's been a great live stream, and I can't wait. I just can't wait to talk to you again, Bishop Larry.
I cannot wait to talk to you again, Brother Alex, my friend. You are a true friend, a true American. I love you, brother. I really do, man. I love you, my friend. My last name to Stein. I don't know.
No, hey, we'll get into that next week, but I love you, brother. I worship Christ. I worship God. And all I know is, guys, we're in a literal spiritual battle, and people like Bishop Larry can help you with that. He can give you the knowledge to defeat these evil people. So open your eyes, because God gave you them to see. Have a happy Sunday, happy Father's Day, and thank you once again, Bishop Larry. God bless. Y'all have a good one.
Love you guys. Thank you so much. See you next week.